you a strategy to help determine if expressions are equivalent or not. Now, looking at my problem right here, it says Shay wrote the expression 5 times y plus 2 plus 4 to show the amount of money 5 friends paid for snacks at a baseball game. Which expression is equivalent to the one that Shay wrote? So I know that I can distribute my 5 because using the distributive property, and I know that I could also solve right here to get an equivalent expression, but let's say that that just sounds a little bit too overwhelming, and I just want to look at this expression and figure out which one's equivalent. So what we can do is something called the plug a 2 strategy. And what that means is we're going to look at our variable. So y is our variable. That means it's a letter that represents a number. We don't actually know what that number is that's right there. That's why there's a variable there instead of it, but we can pretend that we know. We can pretend it's a 2, okay? So if I pretend that that y is a 2, that means I have to pretend that all these y's down here are also a 2. Make sure I didn't miss any. And I can pretend like I know that number and just solve it and see if I get the same thing. Now, if I get the same answer, then that means they're equivalent. So let's try it with our actual problem. So we have 5 times. Now remember, instead of a y, I'm going to write a 2 plus 2 plus 4. Okay? I could distribute my 5, or I could do GEMDAS, and I know that I need to do anything that's grouped together. That's the G and GEMDAS together. So that means 5 times 4, because 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 4. Then I have to do any multiplication or division first. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 4 equals 24. So that means that since I plugged in a 2 over here in all my answer choices, I need to solve and see if I get 24 for any of my answers. So let's start with the first one. I see all addition. That means they're all the same operation, so I'm just going to add straight across. 5 plus 2 is 7, plus 5 is 12, plus 2 is 14, plus 4 is 18. So that's not 24. That can't be my answer. Let's move on. These are all multiplication first, and then I have an addition at the end, so I need to do all my multiplication first. 5 times 2 is 10, times 5 equals 50. Now, since I know this is multiplication and addition, that's going to make my number get even bigger. And since 50 is already way more than 24, that means it cannot be my answer. So let's try the next one. I have some multiplication here, here, and here, and here, so I need to do those first. So 5 times 2 is 10, times 4 is 40. Okay, so now I have, I'm going to break this up. I have 40 plus 5 times 2 times 4. I'm going to do this first. This is 10. 10 times 4 is 40. So I have 40 plus 40. That equals 80. That's too much. Okay, so let's double check. We hope this last one works. So I see some multiplication here and here. I need to do those first. So I have 5 times 2, which is 10, plus 5 times 2 again, which is 10, plus 4. 10 plus 10 is 20, plus 4 is 24. It worked. So J is my answer. Okay, those are equivalent expressions. So let's move on down here. So if I were to try this strategy one more time, let's look at it. So I'm trying to figure out if these two expressions are equivalent or not. So we have 5 times x plus 4, and we have 20 plus 5x. So I could just plug a 2 and see if they work. So let's plug in a 2 right here and plug in a 2 right here. So I know that I could distribute my 5, or I could just solve like GEMDAS. So 2 plus 4 is 6. So now I have 5 times 6, which is 30. So we want to make sure that this over here equals 30. So I know that I have 5 times 2, which is 10. So 20 plus 10, which is 30. Yes, they are equivalent. And we know that because, let's go back to my original problem up here. Let's pretend like I used, I'm going to fix it real quick, like I used the distributive property. So remember, I'm going to distribute this 5 to both the x and the 4. So 5 times x is just 5x, plus 5 times 4 is 20. Do you see how these two things are the same? They're just in a different order. Well, when I'm adding, it doesn't actually matter what order my numbers go in. I'll get the same answer either way. So they are equivalent.